everybody, this is the What's Your Story podcast with a focus on generative AI. And I welcome everybody to listen in every week as we bring amazing guests from all over the globe, including marketers, people from Google, professors, and how they're using generative AI to make their content that much better. We'll be giving you tips, advice, and how you can use AI in the classroom to make it more effective, for example. Please subscribe to our podcast, we're on YouTube, and also follow us on Spotify and iTunes, and make sure you download and listen to all those podcasts out there, okay? Anyway, this is the What's Your Story podcast, and we're bringing it to you live here every week. Have a great day. Today, I have a very exciting guest. She's come all the way from Wales. I'm just kidding. She moved from Wales about a year ago. And I actually work with her partner at George Brown College, but we've got to know each other because she's a marketer and a like-minded marketer like myself. So Teryl Brouillette, that's how you say it, right? I can say that correctly.
Brouillette, yeah.
Brouillette,
we'll work on your French. It's okay.
I know. Thank you, Missy. Anyway, so today we're going to talk a little bit again about AI and how we're using it. And the reason I invited you here is because of the things that you've been doing with your clients on that and creating automations and different things. But before we do that, why don't you give everybody a flavor about your background, what you've been doing over the last little while, and then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes of all this right now.
Yeah, so my background is long and meandering. I'll give you the Coles Notes version. So I started as a theater kid, actually, and worked in the film industry on that end for a number of years, and then decided I wanted a lot more control, which has probably become a theme in my life. And so then flipped into the technical side of filmmaking, became a director, worked as a cinematographer, worked in the film and television industry for a little while. And then we moved to Wales, and I, kind of very quickly realized that indie film was going to be a hard slog. And so I sort of shifted to doing more like corporate videography, content creation. And I actually had a business doing photography for a little while prior to that. But so I was doing that. And then just before COVID, ended up through a twist of fate, getting a corporate job as part of a marketing team for a large organization. And I was doing video content production predominantly for their marketing department. But in doing that, I kind of got to see the inner workings of sort of a marketing organization, a marketing department, and what they do and the kinds of things that they're concerned with and the strategies, and started to learn a lot about that. But I also really started to feel like there was this big disconnect between the content that I was being asked to create, or not even asked. I was actually given a lot of freedom. They kind of just trusted me to like make some cool stuff for them. And we made it. It was great for me from a creative perspective. But there was a disconnect from the stuff I was creating and actually the business goals and objectives and the KPIs and things that were measurable to kind of show, like, is this a worthwhile investment? And so through that, I started diving a bit deeper, learning a lot more about strategic content creation and marketing strategy and how to kind of develop different pieces. And then yes, we decided to move back to Canada, which is where I'm from originally. And I launched my agency sort of the beginning of 2024, so a little over a year ago now. And that was kind of the goal, to kind of bridge high quality content creation with marketing strategy and be able to help business owners sort of navigate that. And I was doing some Facebook ads and social media marketing and that sort of thing. And then have been riding this wave of like AI development, just learning as much as I can about it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all sort of new to this space because it develops so quickly, but I think it's just really exciting, and what we've been able to do to leverage those tools to really improve efficiencies in my business and also to help my clients do the same themselves. It's kind of the journey.
Very cool. You say you were in the theater business. I used to do commercials.
Oh, nice.
So I was in commercials originally, and I obviously have done hundreds of commercials in the advertising world and also as a client. And I've seen all facets of the different ends in production. I like the role when you're approving everything the best.
That's it. Yeah.
they put little earphones on, and then you sit there and you go, oh, you like that one? No, do it again. But that's cool. So listen, AI is actually something that is really changing the landscape for marketing. And why don't you tell us, you were talking to me about a week ago about some things you're doing with your clients to automate their marketing processes. And why don't you tell us a little bit how you do that, the tools you're using, and what you're seeing, some, in terms of efficiencies or even pitfalls from what's going on out there.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think there's sort of two different things here, and people often conflate them. But there's two different technological developments that we're leaning into here. So there's AI, which is like generative AI with
Mhm.
using ChatGPT or using tools to create images or videos and that sort of thing. And then there's automations, and you can integrate the two so that you
Mhm.
get generative kind of
Yeah.
responses and things. But you also can set up automations that can go a really long way in terms of helping your clients be more efficient, not have to respond to like repetitive questions, not have to, I guess, especially on social media, we can use tools like ManyChat, or I use another software called BizMaker that we can do very similar things where, you've probably seen it out there. People comment a word on Instagram, or they tell you comment this word and I'll send you your free PDF guide or whatever it is, some bonus. And so that's an automation. It's not necessarily AI in terms of like using an open AI model or things like that, but it's just something that looks for a trigger, and when this happens, it tells it to do that,
Mm.
and it will fire off a message. And we can really leverage that to generate leads, to grow our my clients like business email list. And it can just get a much greater impact out of the social media content that we create, because we can actually turn it into a measurable business goal. Are we growing our list? Are we growing our audience, not just in terms of follows, but people who are really engaged, who are saying they want what they have to offer? And we can do that without any extra time from the client having to manually send things, and it's just a way to get people in the door, and then
Mhm.
obviously they would pick up the personal relationship on the back of that. So we've had quite a lot of success for that. And then on the sort of generative AI side, I think it's been really incredible what we've been able to do from a content perspective, of taking assets that the client might already have, like say photos that they've had done, and turning it into really high quality videos, creating tours of products, and that sort of thing, by leveraging these technologies that are totally new and still experimental. And every week there's like something new we could do that we can't do last week. So it's kind of like there's almost not really a system yet, but
Yeah.
it's just like staying forever a student and just being really keen to learn and absorb as much as we can
Mhm.
to be able to deliver that added value and keep up with technology where it's at.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting is I had another guest on I guess two podcasts ago. His name's Peter Murphy Lewis, and he's from, of all places, the Midwest of of America. But he also is a television producer, but he has an agency called Strategic Pete. And
Mm.
mostly what they do is they do what you're talking about, this automation using AI to generate leads. He did it to find me and to get on my podcast. His team did,
Yep.
and now today we're going to do another podcast for another day. But he's doing a podcast takeover, which I thought was a really cool idea. So he's going to be interviewing me. I'm going to be you in
Uh,
in that seat. So
that's a good
should be pretty.
idea. Yeah.
Should be pretty. I thought it was pretty innovative and from his part anyway. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots that's going on in the sort of AI for lead generation realm as well, of like using the tools to be able to find people who you might connect with or have something to offer. And it,
mhm.
takes a lot of the drudgery of
Yeah.
building lists and finding prospects. But I think it's really important as well to still find ways to keep sort of the personal touch and connection in there, because yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like I've seen, you talked about pitfalls earlier of this kind of tool. Like I get emails all the time from people who are trying to sell like ghostwriting a book, or
Yeah.
improving your website or whatever, but they send out these emails that are clearly AI generated. They'll say, I'm very impressed with your website and all these credentials, and it's very clear that your expertise is in this. And I'm like, that is not what I do at all. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
if you had just sent me a message that had no details, I might have been more likely to respond. And now I know you're like just not even reviewing this yourself.
Yeah.
So there are dangers in there. You got to keep the human in the loop, so to speak.
Yeah, I get a bunch
Yeah.
of those actually. Can we do your SEO and digital marketing? It's like, well, what do you think we do? But
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. Like what? Like you're
So,
not
but
even trying.
yeah, so that's a delete. But anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So when you're thinking about all the different applications and from a Gener AI tool, do you know of any companies that have really kind of used it in an effective way? Any brands that you can remember that have used it really well and that you could tell us about?
So, I mean, it's such a broad spectrum of like what different AI tools can do, and some of the applications are more visible than others. So, there's some notable examples of like Coca-Cola and
Mm,
Adidas and some brands. I think there was maybe a Porsche or something that have started creating these really high-end videos and commercials that are totally AI generated, and you wouldn't know. And there's really an art behind that, and I think that I'm really excited by, as somebody who has come from that production space, to
mm,
see like what we're able to do in terms of bringing visions to life without needing to set foot on a set. Some
yeah,
people are threatened by that advancement in technology, but as a creator, I think it's unbelievable, because you're basically just taking down the barriers between like an idea that you have and bringing it to fruition. You can do it for a lot less money and a lot less time and resources, and from anywhere in the world, really, if you know how to use the tools. So there's a bit
mhm,
of a retrain that's going to have to come there. So yeah, there's a couple of big companies we've seen some cool work sort of leading the way in that realm. In terms of other applications, I mean, like a lot of the ways that we're using AI on the client facing end, or my clients' clients, they would never know it. It's not
mm.
flashy, and in
No,
fact, the less apparent it is, the more successful we are. Right? We want
yep,
to create systems and processes to improve our content and make it feel as much like in the voice of my clients, if we're writing content, as much in their tone and their voice, reflecting their values and their ideas and everything else. And as if they're approving everything, and if they are happy with the content, they're like, yes, I would absolutely say that. Yes, like I stand behind all of this. And their clients then get that message as coming from them. Then that's a win. And nobody knows that it's
that's
AI.
true.
I do, when I create video with AI, I do put a disclaimer on it, and it's standard best practice on social media to add the AI tag as well. But the way we're using it is kind of like, we're still so excited by this tool that we're like, we took, a client, sent us a photo of this, the product that they had received, and AI's helped us really bring it to life, to show like kind of the experience of the world where where they are, right?
Yeah,
So we'll say that directly in the commentary. I don't think anyone's about trying to like pull a fast one or
yeah,
anything like that. You don't want to be creating stuff that people feel like they've been tricked by it, or that just feels kind of really icky.
yeah,
But yeah, as far as like the sort of most advanced applications of AI, it's often hard to spot. So it's hard to know what companies are doing it.
yeah.
I think at the moment it's still sort of underutilized, and we can talk about some of the ways I think people are just totally using AI wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, the goal with a lot of the sort of basic business efficiency tools is to make it as authentic to our clients and their businesses as possible, and as invisible as possible.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting is this podcast, we promote it using shorts, but we
Mm.
take clips from the podcast. And there's a number of good ones out there. Opus Clips is a really good one we've used, and it allows you to actually put some music in there and some filters and make it look engaging. But the platform we're on right now, Riverside, also has magic clips. And so you
Mhm.
can easily take a 30-second, a minute and a half, and create a really engaging clip, which sometimes gets more views than the actual podcast itself.
Yeah.
And so I find that fascinating. It saves so much time,
Yeah.
opposed to trying to go into the podcast and editing things out and changing the formatting. And it's just it's a time saver in a big way, and it looks professional, and you would never know. But It's part of the strategy we use to promote and get the word out about this podcast. So we'll be doing this with you as well. So you'll see when we do that.
Great.
Yeah. So, we're talking about ethical concerns. I have some ethical concerns at school. A lot of professors do, on how students are not thinking anymore. They're using AI to quickly create a presentation or a marketing plan or whatever we're doing. So I'm trying to embrace it and bring it back into the classroom. But outside of that, in the business world, what are you seeing that are concerning in terms of ethical considerations in the work world today?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think people have to think of it as a tool, so that is available, that should be enhancing what you're able to do, and not replacing, or essentially like doing your thinking for
Yeah.
you. And I think this is kind of one of the ways that a lot of people are using AI wrong, in terms of like what the general population does, right? You open ChatGPT and you go and you say, write me a Instagram caption about XYZ, right? And it'll generate something, and it'll put in some details based on what it thinks will be engaging. And then most people will take that and hopefully edit it a little bit.
Hopefully, yeah.
There's some students, like I've heard stories that that don't even go that far. But hopefully edit it and put a little bit of their spin on it. But to me, the problem with that is you're still sort of outsourcing the thinking. You're outsourcing the ideas. You're maybe giving it a couple of pieces of context in terms of the direction that you want it to go, or the general theme of the post, but it's coming up with the ideas. And one of the ways that I help my clients, and service offering that I'm rolling out now more and more, is to help people to use it to reverse that process. So what we do is we capture your thought leadership, your ideas, your context, everything about your business, your ethos, your values, and also things that about your audience, what they care about, your services that you offer, and we create this sort of comprehensive profile and some core documents around your business that it's great to have anyway for your business, defining your offer, defining your audience, defining your unique positioning. And we throw in a bunch of market research in there, but we basically use that to train a custom AI bots, or custom GPT. You could do it in Claude as well, for that business. And so you're starting with the context of everything that's unique that you are bringing to the space and what you have to offer, and then asking it to kind of format it into bite-sized pieces, into something for Instagram, or a post for LinkedIn, or a video script or something. But in that sense, the AI is not doing the thinking for you. The ideas are original. Right. And the AI is just taking that and packaging it and saving you the time of like thinking, okay, well, how do I word this for this platform? And you get not only much better results that are going to be very unique to you, that ChatGPT can only return ideas that are already out there, right? Whereas this is like taking your unique ideas and formatting it. So you get better results that way. It saves a lot of time. And I think just from an ethical perspective, it keeps it sort of human first, with ChatGPT or any of these AI tools, as just that, as a tool, as a helper. And it's not then asking those tools to like replace you and come up with ideas that then you're going to claim as your own. It's kind of like plagiarism of AI, right? Yeah. And there's bots and things now that try to catch that, of like, well, this isn't your work. And they say like, Google will deprioritize, or, will flag you for having a lot of AI generated content. Well, if you come at it this other way, you can still use the tool to great effect, but it's personal to you, and it's your ideas. And I think that is a much more ethical use of it, and a much more effective use of it, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, the steps you just laid out are really interesting. It probably saves a lot of time for people. And I also think that at the end of the day, you can use AI to measure the success of it, right? So that you can determine if it's working or not. What's really intriguing is there's a lot of chat bots that are on websites today.
Mhm.
One of the ones that or they're used on helplines, for example. And for some, those can become very frustrating. I use one when I'm developing Wix Studio websites. And if I get stuck on something, I'll use the help button and I'll chat.
Yeah.
Well, it's very hard to get past that AI
Mhm. Yeah.
helper. But eventually I say, I want a real person. Oh, let me try again. And they give you, no. I would really like a real person. It takes 3 times
Yeah.
to ask it.
Like,
Eventually it gives me
it's like, oh, okay,
a way
okay.
to you'll get a real person. So it's fine
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
too
just
funny.
wild. But anyway,
And I've actually found that when I've been in that situation, I just, ditch the chatbot and go straight to ChatGPT and say, I'm on Wix trying to do this. I'm stuck with this. How do I fix it? And
there you go.
give me
Okay.
instructions like I'm an idiot, and it will just like lay it out for you. Honestly, I like people. My clients think I'm a coder because I can fix things. That's like you just ask it, and it knows how to code. It will write custom CSS and Python scripts, and if you're like,
Yeah.
anything you don't like about a website builder that's like templated, you can change it by just telling ChatGPT what you want and asking for the code. And then it's crazy what you can do. It's an unbelievable tool.
Yeah. Some of my students are using it quite effectively. So they make content with it
Mhm.
and they use Canva, but within Canva they use the AI tool to help create effective video with the content from the client. So for
Mhm.
example, one of our clients is the Dino Run. It's a run to raise money for kids, and they wear
Mhm.
dinosaur uniforms and they, funny dinosaurs. It's a lot of fun. Actually, your kids would love it. But but the thing is that they most of the content they've created is from images and video that they may have, but they put it into AI and it just effectively creates something that's even better, and it makes the company and makes them look really good.
Yeah.
The AI captions, I'm very picky. I tell them, make sure, because we have a platform we use that involves AI. I'll say, listen, you make sure that you put what you think first, the kind of hashtags that you've researched first, then ask it to expand it, grow it, make it more whatever you're trying to do,
Yeah.
or reach the target audience. And so I always say it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So the more you can put good stuff in, the better output you're going to get and get a better result from the platform. And that's what I tell my students, and that's what I'm telling my interns that I have too. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah, for sure.
thinking about the future, okay, you had a magic ball. Uh, where do you see the future going with all of this in the next 5 years?
Oh, I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it? I think. I know there's still a lot of sort of trepidation around it. People are very hesitant and fearful of what's going to happen. I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like when the internet first came to fruition and people were like wearing with foil on their heads, like just like very fearful of like what is this? It's floating information like is exchanged like through the air, and how do we there's a lot of fear around it. I think it's here to stay, and it's only going to get crazier in terms of its capabilities.
Mm,
The real test is going to be, what kind of boundaries can be placed on it? How can it be regulated in a sense? How can we make sure that there's still safeguards?
yes.
End up in a film here because AI is already way smarter than we are in so many ways,
Come
and
on.
but it just has access to so much more information than a human could possibly ever hope to. But so
Yeah.
it's a tool. It's an unbelievable tool that's going to open up so many possibilities. It's going to kill a lot of jobs, but it's also going to make a lot of jobs. And I think as a creator, it's an incredible thing because like I said, you've got a much lower barrier to actually bringing your ideas to life. And it hopefully is going to allow more people to do sort of the important work that they're passionate about, and take some of the just repetitive kind of
Yeah.
drudging work that nobody really wants to do, take
Yeah.
that over. And I think it's going to present a challenge to kind of society as a whole in terms of how we think about work. If we have these tools that can cover our basic needs, how do we adjust so that people can live and people can do the important work they want to do, but that it's going to be an adaptation for
Yeah.
sure. But I'm excited by it.
Now, one of the things that I've heard is the potential for growth is through autonomous brand avatars. So
Mm,
these are avatars that'll actually, they'll almost look real, almost like in an augmented reality state, right?
right. Yeah.
So this, over time, there is one right now called character.ai. You can check it out. You
Hmm.
can create yourself your own marketing assistant. Um, I used it in I was speaking to the Athletics Ontario not banquet, but the road racing community, the marathons and all that. And I started the talk by having an AI character up on the big screen. His name was Zoltan.
Hmm.
I called him Zoltan because my coach when I did track was Zoltan. And I gave him a persona of a kind of a tough Hungarian track and field coach with an accent, Hungarian accent, and which was my coach. Okay, and I asked him a bunch of questions, and then I had the crowd ask him questions, and they could not believe it. And then they asked the questions about porta potties at a marathon. And he said, "Oh, he gave a question, he gave an answer, and they freaked out. It was wrong, right?" So I said, "Zoltan, I think your answer was not correct. The audience is quite upset. Oh, I'm very sorry that I didn't give you the right answer." And it was just they just loved it. Then I went on to use another character to teach them about AI, and it was through it's been called character.ai. So I
Yeah.
used it very effectively. I thought and it made it very engaging in terms of and I didn't have to do all the talking, which was also a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's amazing the things that you can do, and it's only going to get better for sure. You'll have one day like the hologram of Zoltan standing on stage
that's right.
beside you, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things also that's becoming a pitfall related to this whole thing is this idea of losing this kind of genuine, deep, ethical connection, human connection, right, with people and things like that, and its limitations on empathies. What
Mhm.
are your thoughts on that? How do you feel AI is in terms of being empathetic and creating emotional responses that are really human or feel like they're human?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, AI is just learning and predicting what the next token is, so to
Hmm.
speak, when it's creating responses. It's not really emoting, but obviously emotion will be created in on the receiving end in terms of your impression of what it's telling you, how it's communicating with you and connecting with you. And it is getting better and better every day at predicting what makes us feel emotional connections.
Yeah,
Is that ethical? Is it obviously it's not really feeling anything because it's it's a machine, it can't. But at the end of the day, does that really matter? I mean, we all kind of, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. You could be talking
yeah,
to somebody who is, making you feel like you're the most important person in the world, and they walk away and they're like, God, that was so annoying. And they like completely like, there's humans
yeah.
that do that too, right?
That's
Um,
true.
we know with AI that it's AI and it doesn't really feel anything.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, we want to have an experience in whatever we're doing. We're engaging with a brand. We want to feel a certain way. We want to feel recognized and heard and special. And as much as it's AI, it's doing this for everybody. We're all unique flowers here. We're all special. But it can really deliver an experience that it feels tailored to you and personal to you, and you've told it something and it gives you these other insights, or from a
yeah,
business perspective, it can trigger a special offer or an automation that's just like based on what you really care about. And if it's something that I really care about, then do I care that a machine predicted it? I don't know. So we know that it's a machine, right? There's no pretense around it. So it's a matter of like, how much do you value the experience of the interaction? And I think our interactions are probably going to be improved when it is at scale. Again, like these sorts of AI tools are great at scale. when you have a small business, it's always going to be better to have that human personal connection. And if you've got, if you've only got a couple of inquiries coming into your business, hold on to those, talk to them personally, make the connections. You learn so much and people will always get more from that. But at scale, if you've got 1,000 leads coming in a day, there's no way a human being can actually give a personal, like, one-on-one attention to every person. And so it's kind of a bridge to helping people still feel some of that individual recognition. But yeah, it's got to be used sparingly and strategically, I think. But we definitely, I hope that we don't lose human connection. And that's, one of the things even in this AI kind of the bots that we're building, a super important part of the process is the sort of the initial onboarding or discovery call. It's like a 2-hour deep dive with a human. And there's platforms that like an AI can do this and can conduct the interview with the prospect as well and gather information. But I just find you get so much more out of having one-on-one conversations and just doing this, talking about things you're passionate about. I love talking to business owners about, what they really care about, what they're trying to do, who they're helping. It's, you walk away from that call alone just feeling like a buzz. And then we take all of that information and the data and everything that's come out of that conversation, and we can do some incredible things with it to train their custom bots that they can use as a really practical tool for their industry. But I think it's something you'd never get from filling out a survey about what's your unique positioning or who's your target audience. Like typing that, it just wouldn't be the same. So having that human connection is super important.
That's true. So I have one last question for you. So you are a filmmaker of all things. Wow. That's pretty good. If you were to create an indie film today, okay, so you did this, 5-10 years ago, right? And how would you use AI to help shape your story? Would you use it?
I mean, absolutely. I think it's, so I actually, the last film that I ever made, we had just moved to Wales, and my partner was traveling. So I was home by myself in this new country, didn't really know anyone. I'd been there for like maybe a month. And I had just bought a new camera and a bunch of kit, and I wanted to make a film, and I basically created a story that was a one character sort of story, and bought some cool motion control tools. And I, created this short that was essentially a one person. I was in it. I wrote it, directed it, was the cinematographer, was the editor, was the sound designer, did like everything as a single person. And I, with these motion control tools, I mean, you wouldn't know, like I'm, walking down the street and the camera's following me, or, I stand up from the bed and it comes up with me. And so it's, there's movement in there. And the goal was to make it not seem like just like sitting on a tripod and like one person doing this. But I built that as a one-man band. And now with AI, like the things that you could do by capturing strategically. And I think that's the thing when it comes to creating high quality video content, it's still about the core elements. It's the script, it's the story, it's the storyboard, really mapping out what the frames are, what the look is, the feel, the tone, giving it references and building out this vision that is still like you're bringing this vision to life. Some people think AI filmmaking is like you go like, make me a film about this, and it spits out a thing. But the process of actually making a high quality short film or feature film, someone's going to do it with it is the same really as going into production. It's just you're using different tools to create the final visuals. And I absolutely would lean into that if I was going to make a film today. I mean, I could put myself on the moon, it's like there's crazy things you could do. So
there's a show that's just on Netflix called Adolescent. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen like some ads for it.
So what's unique about it, it's a very sad story. But the way they filmed it was it's all continuous motion. So there's never a scene that's cut and then another angle or another shot from another camera angle. It's all fluid. So they get in their car, they walk out the house, they walk down the stairs, everything is done through and I think they used automation and AI to help create it too. But I want to find out because it's very unique in how they did it. But the show is quite emotional, and you should, if you have a chance, you should check it out. But it's pretty cool.
There's a few films that are done in like oneers, they call them, like it's a one shot. What feature is it? Kevin Costner or no? I can't remember. Was it a few years ago? Birdman or something like that. That was like, it's all done in one shot, and it's so it's crazy. But I wonder if they used AI or if they did it the good old fashioned way. It's hard to tell these days. You never know.
I know. So listen, Teryl, thank you so much for joining us today. And I never asked, you never said what the name of your company was or how to find you. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and connect with you? And I think I'm going to connect with you about lead generation in the next little bit too. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about
Absolutely. So my agency is called Electric Kite Media. You can visit our website at electrickitemedia.com or find me personally on socials as Teryl Brouillette. And that's probably the best. You can send me an email if you want, hello@electrickitemedia.com. And I'm happy to field any questions about AI or marketing or the like. But
Very cool. Well, thank you once again. I may have you come back on another time because this was a very interesting. I know you have to go. You got little ones you have to go.
I gotta run. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll be chatting with you soon. Bye for now.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Take care.